Hello, you're watching World Talks on TVP World. My name is Sasha Faba. 7 people have been arrested in a $100 million corruption probe involving Ukraine's state nuclear company Energoatom. As the investigation reaches figures close to the presidential circle, we speak with Daria Kaleniuk, co-founder of the International Center for Ukrainian Victory, about what this means for Ukraine's energy stability and anti-corruption efforts. Good to have you with us on TVP World. Let's start with the latest announcement here. We have 7 charged, looks like $100 million in kickbacks, essentially bribes. So what can you tell us of the latest here, including the Prime Minister's also disillusionment of the actual supervisory board of Energoatom?
Disillusionment of the supervisory board of Energoatom is not enough as a response of authorities to this corruption scandal. The most recent news of this morning is that the Minister of Justice of Ukraine, who used to be the Minister of Energy, is suspended from his position. So there is acting head of the ministry. The actual Minister of Energy must be dismissed from her position as well. And right now we are watching the court hearings, and it's not yet trials, but this is where prosecutors are presenting evidence about the suspect officials and suspect members of the organized crime group, and are waiting for either their detention or bail. For Ukraine, this is huge. This is one of the largest investigations and the most complicated investigations anti-corruption bodies in Ukraine are doing probably since independence of the country. It's about not just embezzling of funds at the state energy company. It's also about organized criminal group, which was coordinated by Timur Mindic, who happens to be the business partner of President Zelensky in the past. He is co-owner of Kvartal 95. This is the show business company of President Zelensky. And apparently this man, who has no positions in the government, was deciding who will be the ministers, how to embezzle the funds from the critical infrastructure, and how then to legalize these funds.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you mentioned there the justice minister is suspended. There's also, as you mentioned, this high-level person who used to be very close to President Zelensky. There's an ongoing investigation, a lot of money at stake here. You said the supervisory board dismissal, that's not enough. I mean, at this point, I'm curious, and many will be curious, I think, not just in Ukraine. How deep does this go? And what would be the appropriate next step here? What would satisfy Ukrainians to deal with all this?
Reboot of the system of management of the country, where just 5 people, the inner circle of Zelensky, are actually deciding how to run the country. This system showed that it doesn't work, that it has enormous risks of large-scale corruption. I'm now in Kyiv and I don't have electricity. Electricity cuts are happening every day. And basically, one of the reasons, a clear reason, is that Russians are attacking our critical energy infrastructure. But another reason is that Ukrainian critical energy infrastructure was not prepared properly for these attacks. The defensive construction sites were not built on time. And one of the reasons is that there was this organized crime group working and influencing the critical energy infrastructure company Energoatom and embezzling the funds. So, and people of Ukraine are watching all of that. They are very angry. They expect President Zelensky to react straightforwardly. It's not enough to have 30 seconds message to the people of Ukraine, which he recorded 2 days ago, that he said we are waiting for the court verdicts. We can wait for the court verdicts for years. But now it is important for Zelensky to basically avoid covering up his inner circle and let anti-corruption bodies to complete their jobs. And those who are suspect in large-scale graft and corruption must be dismissed immediately from the important top governmental positions.
And it's also interesting when I hear your statement. I mean, your anger, there will be many people who will be upset at this and shocked about the whole investigation, right? These two bodies, Sapo and Nabu. This looks like it was over a 15-month probe. It involved over 70 searches. We said there's only some of this information now coming to light. But then at the same time, I'm struck by the fact, if I remember in the summer, not that long ago, President Zelensky was trying to actually block these agencies from functioning. I mean, do you see a connection there now? Will that now be an issue again coming forward? And I'm just wondering, what do ordinary Ukrainians think about this? Will we see protests? I mean, is that already going on? What will Ukrainians do in the next few days?
People are outraged, the same as they were outraged during the summer when President Zelensky decided to destroy independence of NABU and SAPO, these anti-corruption bodies. And at that time, people went to rally. There were tens of thousands of people across the country forcing President Zelensky to step back and to return the law. And he did that. He did that because of the pressure of the people of Ukraine and also the reaction of our international partners, particularly the EU. And that attack on Nabu and Sapo was connected and related to also this investigation, because at that moment, Nabu and Sapo charged the former Vice Prime Minister of Ukraine, Chernyshov. And this Vice Prime Minister just yesterday received another charge. So he was receiving money which was embezzled by this organized group, by this president friend, Timur Mindic, and then unclear how he was spending this money, but this is the crime. And then the people of Ukraine, with their clear position, saved our anti-corruption independent bodies, and that empowered them to continue their work. But clearly the pressure on them is huge. There are some political persecutions against NABU detectives. One NABU detective who was part of this investigation is in jail for already 4 months. And his father as well, under fabricated case. And he must be released from prison with his father. The political persecutions and attacks on individual NABU detectives have to stop. And this is the decision which President Zelensky must take. Either he is covering up his inner circle and best friends, or he is deciding to pick the side of the people of Ukraine and save the country, both from the Russian aggression, but also from the internal corruption and inefficiency, which is unacceptable during the war. And people are mad because every Ukrainian hryvnia of Ukrainian taxpayers, every euro, every dollar of international aid must be spent effectively. And if it is misspent, it means somebody is dying on the front line. It means that people are suffering because our civil infrastructure, critical infrastructure, is not protected well. So therefore, the pressure from the people of Ukraine on Zelensky will be enormous and huge for him to react properly on this scandal.
All right. I mean, you did say that he had made a statement, President Zelensky made a statement about this. I do want to share that just briefly with our viewers and yourself. So let's play that now for our audience.
Any effective action against corruption is greatly needed. The inevitability of punishment is necessary. Energoatom currently provides Ukraine with the largest share of energy generation. Integrity within the company is a priority. Energy, every industry. Everyone who has been involved in corruption schemes must receive a clear procedural response. There must be convictions, and government officials must work together with the National Anti-Corruption Bureau of Ukraine and law enforcement agencies to achieve the necessary results.
All right, Daria, so when we hear those words, how convincing do they sound to you? I know that earlier you were critical of them, so just give us your take on what the president said there.
The friend of president and his business partner, Timur Mindic, who is organizer of this group, who was doing all this embezzlement and coordinating the work of officials, ran away from the country. Just a few hours before the searches in his house, he's been charged with this large-scale corruption. At least $100 million was siphoned away from the state energy company. So, and a few more people ran away. So the question is, how come President Zelensky, who has absolute power and influence and control over Prosecutor General, intelligence services of Ukraine, allowed his business partner and friend charged with corruption to run away just hours before the actual charges and searches were presented? So therefore, it is not convincing. I think that there have to be procedures and processes to return back all those who run away, even if they are friends of president. And if there will be more charges, apparently this investigation has not yet completed, and we have not seen yet everything what NABU has collected, and there might be more charges. So if there will be more inner circle friends of Zelensky running away from the country, it will be a clear sign that president is not very much convincing. And
Speaking of convincing, I want to jump in there because you mentioned earlier already in terms of international partners, Daria. I mean, just some days ago, really, I mean, the European Union is watching this as well. I mean, there was this enlargement report where Ukraine passed with flying colors. It suggested it's the highest marks in years. So now we have something like this. I mean, how do you think this could potentially damage and impact Ukraine's road to European Union membership?
In the EU enlargement report, in the section about rule of law and anti-corruption, it's clearly stated that independence of NABU and SAPO, these anti-corruption bodies, is of the high priority for the EU in order to keep Ukraine on track with the EU integration. And any forms and any ways of influencing these anti-corruption bodies will be very negatively assessed by the European Union. The situation which has happened during the summer, where president didn't wait for the verdicts of the court, but decided to attack NABU and SAPO under the pretext that there is some Russian influences over them. It's a clear sign of the double standards of Zelensky, because when he needed to destroy independence of NABU and SAPO to protect his friends from investigations, he has done that in one day, despite that people were angry and were against, and the people stopped that. But when his friend is running away from the country, he's been charged with large-scale corruption, he is going public and saying, I'm waiting for the verdicts. So therefore, it's not enough for the people of Ukraine. People of Ukraine absolutely support the European integration, and moreover, people of Ukraine support reforms in good governance sector on the way to the European integration.
Mm-hmm. So we could assume then that there's going to be even more considerable expectation and pressure, I believe, on President Zelensky, not just from internal pressures, but I think also from international partners, especially the European Union. We'll see how that plays out as this investigation continues. We find out more as it goes on, but it does seem to be quite challenging times for Ukraine, not just externally, but internally. Look, we'll close it there. Thank you so much. Really fascinating insights there this morning. Daria Kaleniuk, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. That concludes World Talks. But as ever, stay tuned for much more here, news and commentary on TVP World. Goodbye.